Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Live Music Nation podcast, festival edition. Today, we're with Amanda Carter. She's with the Burgoo Festival. It's an awkward name. It's hard to say. Amanda,
It
thanks for
is.
joining us. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good, Jake. How are you?
Good. Amanda, give us a little background on you. Where did you grow up? Talk a little bit about your family and your current career.
Well, I grew up here in LaSalle County. I actually was, my home was really close to Starved Rock State Park. I don't know if you're familiar with that, or Matheson State Park. They're state operated parks, but we have visitors that are almost like national park. We get about 2 or 3 million people through our park system here.
Sure.
So it's very rural kind of area. And very rich in history and culture and all that. So I grew up here, and I moved away for a little bit. I went to the mountains, the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina, moved back and really appreciated where I grew up. And that's kind of how I got into my current career. I had done food service for quite some time, but then my family was involved in a local museum here, and I kind of started volunteering, and then kind of took the role on of this festival, which is our county's and probably one of Northern Illinois' larger festivals. So I started on the ground up in that and really got immersed. And after I started in on the festival, I then became the museum director. So now I'm taking on more of the cultural history of the organization as well. But again, our festival, the Burgoo Festival, is one of the biggest in the Northern Illinois. We get about 90,000 visitors into the small town of Utica, which population is about 850. And that's one weekend in the fall where we host our festival.
Wow. All right. So I got to ask, where did the name come from?
Actually, Burgoo is kind of it's very big in Kentucky, and Kentucky's very close to Southern Illinois. And we had one of our first secretaries at our museum complex had went to the Aaronsville Burgoo, so that's in southern Illinois, which is very close to Kentucky. So they would take these pots, and it would be basically everybody would bring, it's at harvest time, everybody would bring in their fresh veggies, they'd use meat, they use these big cauldrons to make stew. They would cook it overnight and then serve it, and that was their fundraiser. Well, the secretary went down and saw how well that worked and thought, hey, this is really something that would fit in well, because we're a history organization. It's kind of showing how people would have cooked in the pioneer times. Again, it's really big in the southern region. So we kind of decided in 1969 that we would go ahead and try it. So they tried it in 1969. There was maybe about 100 or 200 people who showed up. Well, fast forward to 2023, we are in our 53rd year, and we get about 90,000 people who come to the festival.
So burgoo is like a stew, right? It's like a food.
Correct.
But it's just like there's no recipe. It's just whatever people throw in it.
Well, for us, we have something called the Burgoomeister. So the Burgoomeister is the one that holds the recipe. And we've had, usually our Burgoomeisters do a couple year stint, and they will bring in their own flair to the Burgoo. So it's always going to be vegetables. It's a tomato based stew, and we always use chicken, pork, and beef. So we use 3 different meats. But the veggies will vary. Like our last Burgoomeister was a big fan of okra, so that went in there. But again, basically we start at 7 o'clock Saturday night. Our festival is Saturday and Sunday, but Saturday night we start with these. They're anywhere from 75 to 100-gallon cauldrons. We light the fires, and we do it along the Illinois and Michigan Canal, which is it's actually a National Heritage Area. So we do it along there, and we slow cook it all throughout the night. And then that next morning about 9 a.m., the stew has cooked all the way through, and we start serving it.
Mm.
And in fact, the cauldrons are so big, they actually stir it with boat oars.
It's great. So, is there security around the cauldrons so that people can't, I don't know, dump ghost
We,
pepper into it? Or
yeah, so we do have usually we'll have one cauldron that people will invite people up if they want to stir it, but it's really kind of sectioned off beside that. We do have volunteers that come in and they spend the whole night stirring it, because if you don't stir it overnight, it's going to stick to the bottom. And we've unfortunately had that happen a couple of times. But
somebody fell
they,
asleep.
yes, correct. But yeah, so most of the kettles are sectioned off in an area, but we do have one that can be accessed, because during the night, especially we're very close to our downtown area, you'll have people kind of wander because you can smell it in the air, and they'll come down and they'll be real interested as to what it is, but they'll come and they'll want to get their picture taken while they're stirring. So we have one kettle that's kind of people walking by that will have stir for a couple of minutes, and then the rest of them, we have a dedicated volunteer that
Oh, that's
is there and
fantastic.
stirring.
What
Yep.
about rain? Are they covered? How do you keep the elements out of it?
Well, it's kind of we have something that we can use to cover them, but again, it's a little tricky because we have the fires underneath them, so you don't want anything too close where it melts. But we have a higher tent that we do have in case of rain. If it rains a little bit, we do have lids we can put on.
Oh,
And we've been very lucky the last couple of years that we haven't really had bad weather, but we have had where we've had to put the lids on and also raise the tent over the top of these cauldrons so the rainwater didn't get in
oh
them.
man, this gets better and better. I can't wait to see this. Okay. All right. I think we've got a good idea on the food. Talk about the other events that go on through the day and through the weekend with this. What kind of events do you offer?
So we partner with the fire department. They host a car show on Saturday, so that we have a live car show. We have a pretty awesome downtown area, so we line up the cars downtown. We also have vendors. Usually have about 400 vendors set up throughout the town in the weekend. And it's nice because Utica it's all walking distance, one end of town to the other. It's nice for this event because we are allowed to use a lot of the city property, where we're allowed to use the city streets to set up our vendors. And then a lot of the businesses in the sections, they'll have their own vendors set up. So again, there's a lot of vendors. We try to keep them handmade, homemade types of vendors, because it fits in with our theme of kind of old time pioneer. We've had apple butter, or people doing apple butter demonstrations. We do have in our facilities, we have a blacksmith shop. So we do have a live blacksmithing during the event. So you can go see a blacksmith doing demonstrations. I'm trying to think. We have a lot of we have music during it. We like to kind of marry the event with bluegrass because it fits in really well. The last couple of years, we have had an awesome violinist. Her name is Casey McGrath. She comes in and does the violin, and she plays like Metallica and Dave Matthews Band. So it's really kind of cool. The music goes in well with the rest of the event.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. For you, what is the reward in all the volunteer time, all the paid work that gets done for everyone else? What's the reward in this for you, Amanda?
Well, there's more than one reward. For us, again, we've been around for about 53 years. So it's almost like a homecoming event for our community. It's rewarding to see everyone coming in and having a good time and spending time together. It's a very happy festival. So that's rewarding to see so many people enjoying themselves during the festival. And obviously for our organization, we do profit from this event because we obviously we're selling our stew, and we have shirts and sweatshirts, and we get money from the vendors. But for us, it helps our museum operate throughout the year, which is huge in LaSalle County. LaSalle County has a lot of rich history. I mean, we can tie back to Louis Joliet and Father Marquette. They actually stopped here right on the banks of the river 350 years ago. And we have the Illinois and Michigan Canal, which is a national heritage area that runs right through our town. So we have a lot of history to showcase. And it's just a wonderful event to showcase the history and also to raise funds so we can preserve our history.
That's perfect. Perfect. Okay, a couple of fun questions here. I'm in live music. I'm in live entertainment. So I always like to survey the nation as we do these podcasts. So Amanda, I want to know, what is the best concert you've ever seen your entire life?
Flaming Lips.
Oh, that was easy. Yeah. You were all on that. Okay, dead or alive, you could bring one musical act to your hometown. Who would you bring?
Oh, I've got to say the Beatles. I mean, they've influenced so much music that it would be awesome to see them live once.
That was a no-brainer for you. Your town greatly appreciate that as well. Okay, I've been selfish. I've been asking the questions here for the past 10 minutes. What's a question that you can ask me if you wanted to ask me?
You know what? I would ask you probably the same question. Dead or alive, which band would you like to see?
Dead or alive, which band would my go-to in this question is Frank Sinatra. Not your regular answer, but I just appreciate his style, and I appreciate the era, and I appreciate the rawness of it. So that's my answer, Frank Sinatra. Yeah. That's great.
And best performance. Those are both good questions.
Yeah.
Best performance you've ever seen.
Oh, best performance I've ever seen, probably Garth Brooks. That Garth or Kenny. Just huge energy, and that means a lot to me as it goes through there. Great questions, Amanda. How do people learn more about the Burgoo Festival and what's going on there in LaSalle County?
You can go to our website. It is LaSalleCountyHistoricalSociety.org, or look us up on Facebook. We have a Facebook page for our museum, which is LaSalle County Museum. Or you can go to our Facebook page for our Burgoo event, and it's LaSalle County Burgoo Festival.
Perfect. That's great. Thanks so much for being on with us. I appreciate it, Amanda.
Thank you for having me.
Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle